Good afternoon. Let me say some words on the debate we had this afternoon. Anyone who has seen the horrible images yesterday from the use of chemical weapons in Syria is shocked. That means that my minister yesterday has called for an independent investigation to get the facts established. Therefore, we welcome the fact that the OPCW and the fact-finding mission have started their investigation. But it also means that we feel very strongly that this Security Council should come together, should establish a mechanism for attribution and for accountability. And there's a very good resolution to that effect, which is available. And finally, we're also working outside of the Council to establish accountability with the Paris Partnership, the accountability mechanism under the IIIM and the Commission of Inquiry. The Syrian people need justice and we should give it to them.
Ambassador, can you get your reaction to Russia's comments that they visited people in the hospital, they didn't see any signs of chemical weapons being used on them, and that they've gone to the area, same thing, they said it's a fabrication?
It underlines our position that we need an independent investigation to establish the facts. That's first, and therefore we welcome the fact that the OPCW and the fact-finding mission are on their way. They will establish objective information. At the same time, it also underlines the fact that we need an attribution accountability mechanism.
There are elements drafted by Sweden for E10. Is there an agreement around those elements drafted by Sweden?
Well, we'll have consultation at the end of the afternoon, especially on the draft resolution by the American mission. I think we're focusing first on that one, because in that one it has a very clear attribution and accountability mechanism. That's the first one we're working on. Okay? Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon. As you know, we were one of the states that called this Security Council meeting in response to yet another sad but also horrific attack on civilians on the ground. As the British Prime Minister and Foreign Secretary have said, it's important that there's a proper investigation as a route to accountability. It's also important that the Council has a very serious and thorough discussion of what will it take for the Syrian regime to stop attacking its own people.
Ambassador, would you support unilateral military action by the United States in retaliation for this particular attack?
Well, I think that's a hypothetical question at the moment. We are in very close touch with our closest allies, particularly the US and France. Options are on the table. We will want to evaluate those in the light of what we know. We'd prefer to start with a proper investigation, but we will keep in touch with our very close allies, US and France. And in fact, the Foreign Secretary has spoken today to his French opposite number, Monsieur Le Drian, and also to John Sullivan, who's the acting Secretary of State.
There has been a pattern by Russia in blocking any action by the Council regarding the situation in Syria. What's different today than the previous times?
Well, I hope there is something different. You know, as Lenin said, quantity has a quality all of its own, and I would hope that the Russians would think very seriously about the cumulative effect of their vetoing and their protection of a regime that attacks its own people. But I don't want to preempt the Russian discussion. The Americans have put down a very good text. It has gone some way to meeting the Russian concerns. Really, I don't think there are any excuses for the Russians not to join in agreeing the text for an independent investigation. But we will have to see. If they do veto, then I'm afraid it will be yet another nail in the coffin of Russia's respect for international institutions.
Is Britain preparing for possible military action in Syria with France and the US?
Well, you wouldn't expect me to comment on the detail of any operations that may or may not occur. No decisions have been taken, but all options remain on the table. As the Prime Minister said, we need an urgent investigation. If the Assad regime is proved to be responsible, as many of us fear, there will need to be accountability, and we will be talking in great detail to our close friends in the US and France about what next. Thank you very much, everybody.
Open meeting, so you will hear us speak soon. But the point we'll be making in the Council this afternoon is, of course, that the Council must now be very assertive and united. And the first thing to do is to condemn the reported attacks using chemical weapons. The second thing is to ensure that we support any verification of what has actually taken place, and that's the role of the OPCW. And we need to support the fact-finding mission that they are intent on sending, and that includes the Security Council backing them having full access to whatever they need in order to make an independent verification. And fourth is, of course, to establish this independent attributive mechanism that we've been working on for a long time. And hopefully the events over the weekend can help us to establish that according to what the Americans are trying to achieve. We fully support that. And finally, you know, once we have all the facts and hopefully we have established who is behind this, there will also be full accountability. That's the Swedish line. We hope that we will be supported by others moving forward on this.
You proposed elements.
Yeah.
And
the proposed elements, no, we don't know. We are meeting again after we've asked for consultations. My view is that the Council is always best when we have a text in front of us, and hopefully with the elements that we provided this morning, that would be helpful in order for the Council to react in an assertive and unified way.
Ambassador, what's your position about possible U.S. airstrike?
We don't usually believe in a military solution to these kind of things, and if we want to have accountability, the best way forward is to allow the mechanisms, to set up a mechanism and to support the mechanisms that are there. And that requires a unified Security Council, so hopefully we'll achieve that. Thank you.
Support the US draft?
Yeah.